Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round two of the CIL Cup Series. This time coming at you live from Auto Club Speedway out in Fontana, California. And we are set for what should be another great night of racing here on Monday night after a thrilling Daytona 250 just a week ago. That was won by Drexel's Jason Willott. We'll see if he can pull off the repeat here tonight or if someone else will punch their ticket to the playoff 10 with a victory here this evening. I am your host today, Alex Gagnon. Unfortunately, my co-host Zach Lindner could not make it tonight. Hoping for the best for him and his family, and hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us for the race next week. But for now, it's just going to be me up here in the booth, so bear with me. It's going to probably be a little weird trying to do this with just one voice. But for now, we are getting ready for race number two. Most of the competitors currently qualifying as we speak. And it is going to be a very critical qualifying for a number of these drivers as we have more entrants than the field allows today, which means a couple of people's nights will be ending in just a couple of minutes when qualifying is over. With over 40 entrants, but only 40 spots, we'll have to see if all these spots get claimed, and when they do, who are the ones who gets sent home. Right now, it is the veteran out of St. Clair College, Robbie Vrabel, currently leading the way in a very dead heat with two other drivers, also from St. Clair, Athena Clair, and then alongside them, Tim Robb out of American University, Duquesne's Alex Light, and Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte, currently the top five in qualifying as we see them going around the track right now. That is Anthony Brown out of Queen's University of Charlotte. And this will be an interesting one for sure. After doing all the bump drafting and heavy draft packs we saw last week at Daytona, the drivers are really going to have an opportunity to sort of stretch their legs today and really start to separate from each other. And a track that's got multiple different racing lines. There's Esteban Munoz on screen now out of FIU. We'll have to see which kind of theory takes precedence right now as we're starting to see a couple of the drivers in the hot seat. We'll have to see if Spencer Brown has the ability to get himself back into the field here, currently not inside the top 40. Only 3 minutes to go in qualifying as Trevor Rizzo gets a little loose there. Let's see if he's able to save it. He's able to, oh, well, he was keeping it off the wall and then just pummels the backstretch wall there. That is not what you're going to want to see if you're trying to qualify, especially as he currently sits outside of the qualifying 40 in 41st. So that might have been an intentional wreck there, trying to reset and give it one last go if he had one more lap to qualify. Each driver here in the CIL Cup Series gets 3 laps to set their hot lap. The fastest is taken for their qualifying time. As with now 43 cars having run a qualifying lap, it'll be 3 cars getting sent home in about 2.5 minutes. For anyone who may not have been able to join us last week for the season opener at Daytona, we had quite the thriller coming to the line. It was Jason Willott out of Drexel, just barely winning it over the likes of Andrew Williams and Matthew Nordberg. The reigning series champion, Jared Kaler, who you can see here on screen, is finished right around the top 10 in that race. I believe he finished 11th. He'll be looking for a strong rebound coming into today. Currently sitting in the 5th position in qualifying would give him a decent starting spot, but certainly a little bit of work to do still so far this season for not only the reigning champ, but the 4-time series champ. He did finish 3rd the last time we went to Auto Club. That was back in season 5, which would have been the summer of 2022. We'll see if he can best that total and pick up the win here today. The winner of that race is actually our current pole sitter, Robbie Vrabel Jr. He was the one who picked up the season 5 win at Auto Club, and currently sitting on pole here alongside teammate Athena Leclerc, who finished 4th in that race. So a couple of the St. Clair cars really know their way around this track. With only about a minute or so to go in qualifying, most drivers at this point have set their laps. Only a couple remain, like Dustin Buck here from Waldorf University. Take a quick look here at his qualifying. now on board with Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown currently outside the top 40, actually running 44th. He only has really this lap to find their way back into the qualifying field here. 44 drivers have entered today's race. The largest field we've had for a CIL oval race in a number of seasons as Anthony Brown gets loose coming through 2, and that is going to be probably a death sentence to his ability to qualify for the CIL California 200. He might have time to get one more lap in if he hurries, but I would find it unlikely at this point. Closing seconds here for anyone who might still be on the outside. Sidor, Rizzo, Spencer Brown, and Anthony Brown all trying to find their way in. But with only a few seconds to go, we'll see if they have the ability to do it. And that will end qualifying. I do not believe there was any shifts there. So 4 drivers will be making an early exit. Michael Sidor from Penn Tech, Anthony Rizzo from Clemson, Anthony Brown from Queens College, and there was another driver whose name is Spencer Brown out of UNC Charlotte, all not being able to qualify for today's CIL California 200. But in a second here, we will give you our starting 12, followed by some other noteworthy names throughout the field. As they are beginning to grid up here for the start of this one, it will be the alumni, Robbie Vrabel Jr., beating teammate Athena Leclerc by 5 thousandths of a second. The qualifying pole here with a time of 40 seconds and 4 tenths. To their outside, Athena Leclerc, the highest qualifying student in today's race. Tim Robb, just a few thousandths of a second behind in third, alongside Alexander Light out of Duquesne University, who had a very rough go at Daytona a week ago, looking to bounce back, and so far in a good position to do so, qualifying in 4th position. Jared Kaler out of UNC Charlotte will start 5th, alongside teammate Clint Holterman, both the UNC Charlotte cars with a row 3 lockout. They'll be looking to convert that into some big points here today. Garrett Vuitton out of Arizona State in that absolutely beautiful maroon and yellow car will be starting off in 7th alongside R. Muhammad Alif out of Ball State. Rolling off 9th, it is the reigning alumni champion Jeremy Millerin out of Purdue University. Alongside him, a 3rd St. Clair car, this one the championship runner-up for the student division a year ago, Zach DeWale. And rounding out our top 12 here, it's Esteban Munoz out of FIU alongside Rhett Crane, as there's a bit of a stack up here, and there's already contact on pit road. Not a great start. I don't know what happened there. Certainly a bit of contact down on pit roads. So probably some tempers already before we've even started today's race. But Rhett Crane will be rolling off 12th for Ball State. Now we'll just take a quick look at the remaining order so you guys can get a quick look for it, and we'll point out any other notable names. Andrew Williams within the top 3, rolling off 13th. Was top 3 a week ago. Jason Willott, the reigning Daytona winner, rolling off 15th. Also, Colin Culpa, who's a very strong contender in a lot of these races, will be rolling off 21st, representing the University of Indiana. Edwin Onofre, who's had some success here on these rugged sort of tracks, will be rolling off 25th. Zach Self, who had a great run going at Daytona up until very end, will be rolling off 30th, as well as Andrew McCall rolling off 31st for the University of Purdue. But with that being said, they are just about to come to the green flag, and it'll be time to start the CIL California 200 in just a moment. Barney's got the flag in the air, ready to drop the green for the first time here this evening, and away they go. And that inside line was a great jump to start. Already cars spanning out 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide in some places as they come roaring down the backstretch. Everyone jockeying for position early there. As we see Kaler making a run here on Tim Robb, looking to the inside, trying to take away the 3rd position, as they are both inside of Athena Leclerc. And already they're trying to find whatever groove's going to get them around here the fastest. Cars looking low, looking high, looking through the middle. We'll have to see as this race progresses which one is the way to go. But Robbie Vrabel will take the first lap of this race. Athena Leclerc still maintaining second. Tim Robb still maintaining third. Athena Leclerc getting right up along that wall, trying to get the run down the backstretch as Tim Robb was getting onto the corner of Vrabel there. But Athena Leclerc with a great run down the backstretch takes the lead away from her teammate Robbie Vrabel Jr. and will rocket into the lead position as there is a caution out. Let's see if we can find where that is. Caution flag in the air for the first time here today at Auto Club Motor Speedway. We're getting the replay queued up here if we can take a look at what happened, and we'll see what has brought the field to a close. So this was as Leclerc was making the pass for the lead. Not able to see anything, I don't think, that. Now we're looking a little back in the field. Oh, there's some contact there. Austin DeLong, Zachary Self getting tangled up with each other. Certainly some heavy contact coming off of two, and that is the reason for first caution here today. Yeah, heavy contact there between the 22 of Austin DeLong of Penn Tech and the 77 of Zachary Self representing Minnesota State and Cato. That will bring out the first caution, but I doubt there will be many takers for pit road here, only a couple laps in, as those tires are still probably pretty fresh and fuel is still nearly topped off. It was certainly a good break there, though, for the current race leader, Athena Leclerc, that the pass was made before the yellow came out, so they will be able to restart this one from the lead position, and will be able to control the restart more or less. As we take a look through the field here, we'll see if there's been any major position changes. Up front has been mostly pretty similar. The only real big move is looking to be that Alex Light out of Duquesne has dropped back a couple of positions. Now taking a look here at Nick Stockner, who did not have a great qualifying effort, rolled off in the mid-30s here, but definitely has the... He's at the end, you said? Ah, gotcha. He's moved his way up. And certainly a contender from last week. We saw him run up front a couple of times. We'll see if he can get himself into position here as this race progresses. Still a ton of race to go. It'll be a 200-mile event, 100 circuits around this 2-mile oval. Most cars electing to stay out, and understandably so with how early we are in this race so far. Got a couple of St. Clair cars leading the way in Leclerc and Vrabel. Tim Robb still in third. Jeremy Millerin moves up a couple of positions, up to fourth here at the start of the early going. One of the big movers early. Jared Kaler sitting in fifth, right where he started this race. I saw he had moved up past Alex Light, but also had been passed by Jeremy Millerin, so no net change there. Going back to sixth, it is Garrett Baton out of Arizona State. Alex Light out of Duquesne dropping back a couple of places from his starting position of fourth. Back in eighth was Zach DeWale, up a couple of positions from where he started, who qualified, I believe, 10th. Clinton Halterman, not a great start thus far, dropping back from 6th to 9th. He'll look to rebound here on the next restart. And back in 10th currently is Esteban Munoz in that Panther Esports car with Andrew Williams just behind in 11th. Cars getting ready to go here for the green flag. They have gone 2 by 2. They still have to make their way down the backstretch, I believe, before the pace car will make the hard left to let them get back to green flag racing. And we'll see if we get a slightly longer stint than we did in our opening one. It is a full field, though, full 40 cars. So no surprise that there's not a whole lot of room to navigate here over the go. Everyone eager and ready to go here for the first restart of today's race, getting into the corner, about to go green for the second time. That first restart, we saw everyone try and immediately absorb all the possible running room on this track, going low, going in the middle, going high. And I'd imagine we'll see that in most of these restarts here, as they're going to probably fan out very wide, looking for any sort of advantage they can find. Everyone is still very stacked up. Pace car is off, flag is up, and it will wave for the second time here today, and they are off into turn one. A great jump there from Athena Leclerc to maintain the lead and get in front of her teammate before they even hit the podium. As they roar out of the corner there, fanning out 3 and 4 wide. It is still Leclerc in the lead, but Tim Robb battling Robbie Vrabel for second. They make a deep lunge into turn 3, trying to clear the 075. Let's see if that number 5 car out of America can slide up and make the pass. Able to do so for the moment, but has no draft help on the outside as everyone's taking that wall position. And I'd imagine they're going to lose a bit of speed here coming into turn number 1. Diving down again is Vrabel, looking to potentially slide up in front of their teammate. Able to do so, completes the pass, and Robbie Vrabel Jr. back out in front here in Fontana. Tim Robb has to slide in after losing the position to Jeremy Miller, and Miller's not done yet. He's now looking for second, trying to get by Leclerc. Taking that middle line, sliding up ahead of Leclerc. Leclerc's getting a great run out of the corners, but giving up way too much time during the middle of the corner, and people are sliding up ahead of Leclerc, trying to make the pass. And now there's a spirited battle going on between Leclerc and Jeremy Miller in second place. Side by side coming through 1 and 2. We'll see who gets the better run off the corner. It is Millerin holding on to the position for the moment. So now the St. Clair cars are split up by Jeremy Miller. As Alex Light trying to make the move, got by a couple of cars and now is battling with Andrew Williams. Andrew Williams was in position to win Daytona just a week ago, but not able to make it come to fruition as got turned sideways coming to the stripe. Had to settle for, I believe it was P11. But Williams now up to, may actually touch the wall a little bit there. Car looked a little shaky. As now Light's going to try and make a move through the middle as they are both breathing down the back of Jared Kaler. Kaler takes a bump from Alex Light there and is going to be 3 wide going into turn 3. We'll see who's the gutsiest into the corner, and it looks like all 3 of them are willing to try and make that one stick. Baton with a big slide up there. There's a bit of smoke on the front stretch, as there's a car slow up into the wall on the outside. I'll have to see if we can figure out who that was. I think that might be, is that Turnbull? Yep, Caden Turnbull, number 55, out of Ball State, off the pace there, but it looked like starting way back in the group there. Oh, he was trying to get down pit road after contact on the backstretch, wasn't able to do it, and then nearly stalled out on the front stretch and run the leaders. That could have been incredibly disastrous for those up in the front of the here if they didn't have the time to react like they did. As there was another car going through the grass back there. Not sure who that was. It looked like it might have potentially been Clint Alterman. It was a green car. Yeah, Alterman through the grass coming off a 4. Let's see what happened. Jake Cummins got real loose, and that was either just an evasive maneuver or a bit of net code that sends the 07 into the grass. Able to keep it forward and keep it moving, but certainly lost a few positions in the process. Race has stayed green for now, but it's certainly been tested by a couple of close calls here in the past few laps. Right now, Vrabel trying to make a charge to hold on to the lead ahead of Jeremy Miller. Miller has the outside position, though, with the better run off the corner. We'll have to see who can make it stick going into turn 1. Miller ahead by a nose as they reach the corner. Taking that outside line to give them a great run down the backstretch. Now cutting toward the middle. Maybe looking for a little over-under action as Vrabel goes up high. Miller with a great run coming to the inside here of that St. Clair car. And now that Purdue machine nudges ahead and will take the lead for the moment. Let's see if we can make the pass stick. Slides up ahead and now working his way up the track ahead of the 075. And a couple of alumni battling for first as Vrabel may have clipped the wall there coming off the 4. Vrabel, though, not alone. A couple of St. Clair cars directly behind Athena Leclerc and Zach the Whale. It is a the St. Clair College Armada behind the 100 car of Jeremy Miller. And that is the 09, who's very low. I think he just got lapped there. That was Trust Miller, just coming off a pit road, trying to get back up to speed here with the pack. Must have been involved in some contact earlier in the race. Didn't hold up the leaders, though, and the fight continues up the front between Vrabel and Millerin, with DeWale and Leclerc close behind. Tim Robb rounding out your top 5, leading a whole host of cars as they enter turn number 1 here on lap number 14. Vrabel once again retaking the lead here from Jeremy Millerin in what has been a back-and-forth fight for the lead thus far. They are 3 wide back behind, though. Now settling in a little bit more was Alex Light and Tim Robb for a second, but Light was able to make the pass. But they are 3 wide ahead of them. Cars really trying to expand and find the running lane on this track, as everything ahead of them is starting to get really congested all of a sudden. As Andrew Williams now making a surge, trying to find a way past Jared Taylor into the top. Kaler and Williams looking low on the St. Clair duo of DeWale and Leclerc. Kaler sliding up, going to try and side draft off the 02 perhaps to try and get a little bit of a pull. Instead, will actually slot in between the 2 cars. Not a lot of room there, but was able to squeeze himself in. Williams now looking low on that number 1 car, UNC Charlotte. Getting real close to that rear bumper, but hanging tight, and is going to follow him right off the corner with absolutely no room in Kaler's rear. It is certainly getting racy up front. It may only be lap 16, but people are looking to make the moves now while everyone's still together. Is now Rhett Crane getting in behind Kaler as Millerin and DeWale are battling out for second. Taylor sneaking into the picture as well. And there's a bit of contact there between the 1 and the 02. I don't think Kaler was expecting DeWale to be that slow coming out of the corner. And now Rhett Crane trying to make it potentially 4 wide going into turn 3. They are 4 wide for third. As Williams is trying to get outside of DeWale. Crane trying to get inside of Kaler. It is getting busy up front. There is a whole host of cars right here behind the leader and Robbie Vrabel. Vrabel has opened it up to a 1-second lead over the rest of the field, and I think part of it is because of how fiercely everyone's battling behind him. I mean, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, probably 10 cars all within a couple square footage of each other. It got really close there between Williams and Taylor coming off of turn 2. Boy, oh boy, they are really pushing the limits here as we are getting some cockpit cameras here. We see Esteban Munoz trying to find his way on the outside. We see Williams up there by the wall. DeWale and Miller. And they're spinning now. Rhett Crane sideways and collecting some of the cars behind him. Alex Light, Esteban Munoz involved. Claire, they're still battling. There's all sorts of people. 521 up into the wall. Boy, oh boy, it is going to probably be the big one here at Auto Club. So many people involved. Boy, oh boy, they were just starting to get really, really heated up front as far as how fierce they were battling for position. And, you can only do that for so long before something's going to happen. And something happened indeed as a number of cars collected here in caution number 2 around the lap 18-19 mark. Let's see if we can get a replay and see what really kicked that whole thing off. So as they're coming through the corner here, we are watching the viewpoint of Garrett Ton, number 42 out of Arizona State, on the back of Esteban Munoz. And there is contact first between Rhett Crane and Esteban Munoz, and then secondary contact between Baton and Alex Light. And then all of those cars get collected in a bigger incident. Looks like the 14 of Connor Levy involved, the 521 of Bradley Daniels. There's just a whole number of cars in that. The misfortune for the 611 continues after a couple of rough breaks at Daytona. Finds themselves involved again here. So we'll take a look from Athena Leclerc's standpoint here and what that must look like right in front of them. So as they come off turn 4 is where we're going to see the action start again. Now we're on board with Alex Light. And yeah, that's just everything in front of them. And then looked like it was going to be able to get through until clipped by Esteban, who was on the way by. It looked like 2 different points of contact that all kind of converged afterwards. It looked like there was the first little bit of contact off the corner with Ton. And then the second one is, oh, now Paz spins Alex Light on pit road. Boy, what is going on with that 611? That's got to be cursed, I tell you what. Trying to get into their pit box and just spun off the nose of the 19 of Ricky Paz out of Valparaiso. It is just chaos at all points on this track, even when you're only going with pit road speed. It is certainly not lacked for excitement out here today. Right now, up at the front of the pack here is the 521. I think I don't know if they just still need the pit because they're a lap down, or if they stayed out. I'm not sure what the deal is there. The 521 stayed out, but was involved in that incident. Now they're coming down the pit road. They might just not have been able to come by the first time there. So with everything cycling out, it looked like there may have been a car who stayed out and then Robbie Vrabel. Let's see if we can figure out who the car who stayed out was. That car was a wave around car. So with everything cycling through, it is still Robbie Vrabel up at the front of the field. Zach DeWale now in second, kind of getting their way through that. They were a little bit of the contact coming off the corner there, but they came out relatively unscathed compared to the rest of them. Kaler now moves up to third. Millerin still fourth. Williams and Tim Robb sitting in the 5th and 6th positions. Jason Willott slowly but surely making his way to the front of the field. I see him up in 7th. 8th looks to be, it's a green and white car. I can't tell from this distance. Actually, Jason Willott currently in 7th. Clint Halterman, they're outside here. Jacob Weist sitting right behind them as well. The UNC Charlotte cars start to make their way toward the front here, as well as the number 7 car out of Wingate of Brandon Sulenberger, whose teammate Jake Cummings was involved in that lap 18 wreck. Just about to come to the green flag for the 3rd time today for the second restart. It'll be Vrabel and the Whale up front, Kaler and Millerin looking to make a move behind. Pace car off onto pit road. Car is just about ready to go for the restart. And here they go. Vrabel with a great jump on the Whale. Pulls out ahead. We are underway. That outside wall coming out of the field, roaring down the backstretch on that outside lane. Not afraid to really explore and find what lane works for them. And they're picking all lanes, but a lot of people choosing to run up in that second highest lane up near the wall, because they feel like that gives them the most room to work with, and also the most speed that they need. But it will be Robbie Vrabel in front, the Whale and Millerin fighting behind. Tim Robb shoving that 100 car into turn 1. Giving him a whole host of speed. And Kaler's got his hands full there with Williams and Halterman right behind trying to get by him. Now it's going to be 3 wide coming down the backstretch. 2 UNC Charlotte cars from the bottom, 1 from Clemson up top. And the car from Clemson, shot out of a cannon, moving up ahead of both of them, is now challenging Tim Robb for 5th. For 4th, actually, sorry. Already the action picking up again at the front of the field. Much like the last time, Robbie Vrabel starting to pull away, but it's Millerin and those around him who are really starting to battle for those second, third positions. With the Whale, Tim Robb, Andrew Williams, Halton, Taylor, all trying to make that move. Willott and Jacob Weiss not too far behind them as, big time save from the 23 car of Andrew Williams. He got really loose coming out of the corner, able to keep it forward and didn't really lose any. Taking a look here at Jacob Weiss, who's moved up inside. He's currently running in the 13th position, just outside the top 10. Or do you say up 13? Sorry. Yeah, he's in the top 10. He's up 13 positions from where he started. He's having himself a great run here, as that is Ricky Paz way up to the outside trying to make a move on Nordberg. Ricky Paz up 12 spots from where he started, starting to make some progress here as he now hovers right around the top 10 mark. And now also we have a battle for the lead. It is Tim Robb versus Robbie Vrabel. Robb on the outside, got the good position here. If they can keep it off the wall, able to do so. And now they are side by side coming to the line as we've reached the quarter-way mark here in the CIL California 200. They are still side by side as they charge into turn number 1. Robb with the slight advantage at the moment. Let's see if he can clear Robbie Vrabel coming out turn number 2. Robb able to do so, and now the driver out of American University takes the lead for the first time here today. He had a pretty decent run going at Daytona until it got short by a late wreck. Let's see if he has some better luck here at Auto Club, as he is now starting to pull away from the field as Millerin and Robbie Vrabel side by side for second. Andrew Williams looking to make a move here, sitting in fourth position. That outside lane, though, a very powerful tool. You see Kaler, Willott, and Nordberg trying to work their way around Halton on the bottom. Most of the cars now have seemed to have settled into one of two choices. They'll either run about a lane off the bottom or a lane or two off the top. And it's kind of turned into a bit of a two-lane race here now that everything is starting to spread out a little bit. Right now, Millerin just trying to keep the cars behind him as he currently runs in second. Still not quite in a position to make a move as Williams bounces off the wall in turn 4 there. He's lucky to keep that car forward. But he's not in the distance to really make it first with Millerin. Right now, he's more of just trying to line up his shot and make sure he doesn't lose anything going the other way. After leading a number of this early race, it's Robbie Vrabel just trying to make his way back up into second. Getting really close there for the side draft with Millerin and Williams flies on by. That 23 car out of Clemson really gets some good runs off the corner, and you see it with that speed differential going down the backwards. Still side by side here, 2 by 2, a good way through the field. Not necessarily in a tight draft pack like you see at Daytona, but it's really who's allowed into the outside line and who doesn't have the room. As now Millerin trying to go all the way down the block the move from Robbie Vrabel. Vrabel not backing down though, and is now alongside that car out of Purdue. With Williams coming in with a full head of steam and gives the 100 car an absolute shot down the back. Zach DeWale and Clint Halterman just watching all this go down in front of them, waiting for their time to either make a move or get out of the way in case something goes wrong. Cars maybe a little less ambitious to really force the issue after a lot of the front-running cars were wiped out back on that lap 18 wreck. I think everyone's kind of realized, all right, we still have a lot of race to go. Maybe we need to take a second, breathe, have a little more time to line up our shot, as Tim Robb is starting to drive away from the field a little bit. His lead now up to a couple of car lengths, which is a few more than it was just a moment ago. Millerin and Robbie Vrabel's battle starting to hold them back away from the 5 car. I'd be interested to see if this 23 car can get by either one of these guys if we have anything for our current leader. As Williams is absolutely shoving Vrabel past Millerin, and they move into second and third respectively. Millerin falling down the 4th, and it might be worse if now Clint Halterman makes a move on that 100 car. Ultimate trying to slide up and make the move stick here against the reigning alumni champion. Able to do so. And over the course of about a straightaway and a corner, Millerin has dropped from second to fifth. And he's still in danger of potentially going even further backwards. It's the Whale, Taylor, and the Lot all breathing down the back of his machine. The Whale looking to the outside here. Trying to put it in. Wasn't able to get to the outside, but Millerin ends up hitting the wall trying to block. The Whale moves to the inside. They are 3 wide going across the front stretch with Taylor on the bottom. The Whale in the middle. Millerin up top. Lot looking to try and pick a lane. And it looks like the Whale is going to be able to make that stick ahead of the 100 car. He got very loose, though, trying to get off of 2. So now all of a sudden, Jeremy Miller with an opportunity to make his way back on the inside. Taylor falls in line here behind that car out of Purdue as they are trying to sort out who's going to have the better run for 3 and 4. 31 laps complete, still 69 to go here in the CIL California 200. A little bit of net code contact there between DeWale and Millerin, but everyone keeps it forward, no harm, no foul. Although I'm sure if I'm Zach DeWale, I might have a couple of words in that moment if my car starts shaking around and I think someone else did it. Caution is out here for the 3rd time today. Let's see what happened. It wasn't up at the front of the pack where we were watching, so we'll pull up the replay and take a look at what happened to bring out caution number 3 here this evening. Taking a look for the caution. Not something that I don't think our replay ended up catching. Hopefully it wasn't anything too crazy. It wasn't up in the top, say, 20, 25 cars, though. That much we do know. It was with someone toward the back of the field already. A couple of cars have already been retired for the day, including guys like Anthony Brown, Caden Kimball, Tristan Yoder. Couple of folks. Or I guess anyone from 41st on those who didn't qualify for the main event here this evening. But after a few laps run on this stint, probably about 10 or 12, it'll be interesting to see, or actually not 10 or 12, probably like 8 or so. We'll see if there is a group of takers for pit road or not. Not necessarily a dire situation for most of these guys who pit around the second caution around lap 20. 13 laps since the last caution, we could see some takers for pit road here because the tire wear at Auto Club there's a decent bit. So looks like just about all the leaders are coming to pit road, and it does not look like it looks like actually everyone's coming. It looks like everyone who stopped around that lap 19, lap 20 mark coming in here on lap 32 for some fresh tires and fuel. The teams get a fair bit of tires to work with. I think it's 5 spare sets of tires plus the ones that they start the race on. So definitely have the ability to change them out even after not too long if you really think it'll help you give the advantage. And that's what almost every car in the field here thinks is going to happen on this one. As everyone's coming in, jacks are up. Robbie Vrabel with that number 1 pit stall certainly going to have a bit of advantage over a lot of the field as now everyone's trying to tear off a pit road. Doesn't look like anyone got spun this time, so that's always a good start. And Robbie Vrabel, I think, does beat Tim Robb to the line, so he will gain a position on pit road and move into the first position. Good job there from the crew on the 075 to get them the track position that they needed to restart this one back in first after losing the lead a few laps before that caution. A couple of cars did stay out this time around on the pit cycle, but there are some cars on a couple laps down, so they might be looking to get the way around. Looks like one of them is that 09 car out of the 09 car out of Robert Morris University. That is Justin Yoder. Looks like Caden Kimball might also be looking for the wave around. Connor Levy as well. One of those guys came to pit road. I think that might have been Jeff Pete out of Minnesota. Tristan Yoder looking to. All right, so there begins the wave around process for those guys. And when it cycles back to the front, it will be Robbie Vrabel Jr. who will be leading the way, as he has for a fair bit of the early going of this race up until a moment ago when it was Tim Robb who had taken it away just before the caution. We're taking a look at your top 10 here as we go to restart. It'll be Robbie Vrabel Jr. in first. Outside of him will be Tim Robb out of American University. Starting in third, it is Andrew Williams. Alongside him, Clint Halterman out of UNC Charlotte. Another UNC Charlotte car in fifth, and Jared Kaler, with Daytona winner Jason Willott running sixth for Drexel. Running seventh is Ricky Paz out of Valparaiso, who's up a number of positions, I think over 15 now. Jeremy Millerin running eighth after a lot of scraps with the midfield there in eighth. Ninth is Jake Cummings, who's rebounded after that early incident, as has the number 6 car of Brett Crane out of Ball State University. Running 11th and 12th is Brandon Schulenberger and Matthew Nordberg. Nordberg out of NC State, one of the perennial cars in front from the alumni. Just about to go green here for the fourth time today after that caution back on lap 32. About a third of the way complete here of the CIL California 200. It'll be Vrabel, it'll be Robb fighting on the restart. Cars are all lined up, ready to go. Flag is dropped, and away we go here. 35 laps complete, 65 to go, as it is a great jump from Robbie Vrabel. Tim and Robb now battling for second place with Andrew Williams. Cars immediately starting to fall into that single file line on the outside. Either you're in that line or you're not. If you're not, you're going to start falling backwards with all that draft help on the outside. But right now, it is the 075 of Robbie Vrabel just ahead of that final car of Andrew Williams third, Jared Kaler fourth, as they charge down the front stretch after a lap complete on this stint. All the leaders on fresh tires, so they can basically put the car anywhere they want to at the moment and kind of make it stick. And we'll see if they're still able to do that in a few laps, because I'd imagine that once these tires start to go, they won't be able to do so. Is Tim Robb looking to make a move on the outside of the 075. He has him just about cleared, but Vrabel's going to drive it deep into the inside here of turns 3 and 4 as the caution flag is out once again. Let's see what happened this time. Caution flag is out, and Garrett Baton sideways, and that ASU machine is battered. A couple other cars trying to make their way out. I saw Austin DeLong, Zach DeWale. We'll have to see what happened here, but that car does not look like it wants to move right about now. Triple contact there between DeWale, Baton, and DeLong. And then there's even more contact. That was the 56 car who made heavy contact. That was Ryan Wilson who made heavy contact, I believe, on the fallout. But it looks like DeLong was just trying to come into the corner, didn't know Baton was there, perhaps, and just came across the nose and collected a whole host of cars in the process. Certainly not what you want to see if you're a fan of any of those guys, especially that beautiful ASU paint scheme that it got christened with a less than pleasant surprise there. 22 lost the ball. But another relatively large caution will regroup the field here. And as the old adage goes, cautions breed cautions. And that seems to be the case here, as we've had a couple of cautions right after a restart already here this evening. Can't imagine there's going to be a lot of takers for pit road at this point, as most everybody came in the last time around. But one of the key differences is that Tim Robb did take the lead before that caution, so now Tim Robb will be the one to join the restart, as there is a car stopped in the base lane. Looks to be one of the UNC Charlotte cars. It is Edwin Onofre of the University of North Texas. We haven't seen him much today, but he was stuck at the end of pit road waiting for the to get on by, so has to recycle toward the end of the lineup there. The top 10 not changing a whole lot from what it was when we just ran through it a moment ago. So, with that being said, how about we take a look at, say, 11th through 20th? Who else is potentially in the picture here? So right now we have Matthew Nordberg, who's currently running in the 11th position, slowly working his way up today. Brandon Schulenberger out of Wingate University running 12th, who's putting together a pretty decent race thus far. Running 13th, it is Esteban Munoz of Sports FIU. He was running up toward the front, but now farther a little back. It is also now Jacob Wiest in 14th for UNC Charlotte. Running 15th, it is Alex Light out of Duquesne, who after that early wreck has now worked his way from back in the mid-30s back into 15th, so he's starting to get his footing here. Andrew McCall, the other Purdue car in the field today, currently running 16th. Colin Kolpa out of the University of Indiana, currently running 17th, another one of these talented alumni drivers that we have here in the CIL. Running 18th, it is Matthew Burton out of East Tennessee State in the ETSU machine. Running 19th, it is Nicholas Voldemic out of St. John's University. And rounding out your top 20, it is Athena Leclerc, who's also involved in some earlier incidents, but now is starting to regroup. 21st, Dylan Godinez out of the Penn College of Technology. Teammates with Austin DeLong, who's caught up wreck just a moment ago. So, the final pace lap here before we go green. Once again, it'll be Tim Robb and Robbie Grable. A lot of Robb action up at the front of the field here. But it'll be them getting ready to restart this event here. Williams and Kaler running 3-4. Still a lot of racing to go, and if they keep running as competitive as this, it would not be shocking if we see a couple more cautions before this one's all said and done. As people are really anxious to try and get their way to the front as soon as possible. Pace car rounding through 3 and 4. We'll have to see if either of these guys in row 2 get the jump they need to battle Tim Robb and Robbie Vrabel, as it's been mostly these two cars at the front of the field for the majority of these 40 laps that we've run so far. And they looks like they delayed the green around to go one more lap around. It looks like the lines didn't quite get themselves sorted in time, so they're going to do one more pace lap and try it again. I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of frustrated drivers out there with how many things may not have been their fault that they have found themselves involved in. So far, a rough night for Arizona State. Baton 38th, Baton 11:39. Certainly not the way you draw it up when you start the event. I know a couple other schools have had a rough night so far as well. I believe Robert Morris is another one of those schools where we've had a couple of cars involved in runs already. I would say St. Clair, but they also still have Robbie Vrabel running second, but they have had some other of the St. Clair cars in some incidents. So certainly some winners and losers through the opening stages of this race. I think one of the big ones is we're still seeing some pretty good battles for the lead through the top 5. It's just a matter of we have not had a lot of extended green flag runs here, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Pace lights are off. We're assuming this one won't be a delayed green like it was on the last lap, so they should be getting green this time on. Let's see if the pace car makes the hard left down pit lane, which means we will be going back to green flag racing in just a second. Barney's got the flag in the air, and waving it is. They are back green here at Auto Club. Vrabel looking to the inside of Tim Robb, trying to take away the lead, but that number 5 car out of American University, just a little too quick that time, was able to maintain the top spot. Everyone trying to get into that single file line down the back stretch, trying to get that little bit of draft help. As they are starting to fan out a couple wide in the corners once again. Very single file on the straightaways. It is Tim Robb who is taking control of this race off the restart. Once again finds himself in the lead. There's been a couple of lead changes already, primarily between these two drivers running first and second. Andrew Williams hanging around the picture in third at the moment, trying to make a move on Robbie Vrabel. Everyone sort of biding their time. Maybe everything is starting to calm down a little bit after a couple of cautions in quick succession. There is a Ball State car on the apron, 3 and 4, maybe heading for pit road. Right now, though, good battle going on for fourth place between Jeremy Miller and Jared Kaler, with Rhett Crane and Clint Halterman not too far behind. Miller, though, able to take the position away from and has moved into the fourth position, and now is looking for more, trying to hunt down Andrew Williams out of Clemson. First 5 cars all single file. After that, starts to break out to a little more wide open action. This is Clinton Halterman and Jason Willott doing battle for 6th place here. Both of these cars had a pretty strong run last week at Daytona, and so far following up with a pretty good effort through the opening 44 laps here. Side by side they're going to be as they dive into turn number 1. Halterman slid up the track, trying to get more of an angle to dive in. Willott riding that higher lane, trying to get the run off the corner down the straightaway. Right now, Halterman will maintain control of the 6th position. Just behind them, a couple of 2 wide battles there. That is Jake Cummins on the inside of Ricky Paz. There is contact, and Paz is sideways. Ricky Paz is sideways off the nose, and he is spinning and bouncing off of the outside wall, and that'll bring the caution out once again here in the CIL California 200. It was getting a little dicey. Paz trying to dive into the corner. Jake Cummins right there on the outside, and that 19 car from Valparaiso University gets sideways. Doesn't look like anyone else was really collected in it, though. Everyone else had enough time to scramble. But Cummins just comes up right onto the corner. There was no real room to move, and when those cars decided they were going to move a little farther, there was heavy contact between Schulenberger and Paz. They're probably damaging the nose of both cars there. Well, it seems to be the only other car that was involved in that incident, though. We'll take a look on board here with Brandon Schulenberger. As, oh yeah, heavy nose contact, a little bit of wall contact. Schulenberger keeping it forward, but that's definitely not going to drive like it did 5 seconds ago, that's for sure. But that is a tough break there for both of those guys. Inadvertent contact between the 2 Wingate cars. Jake Cummins was the one who made initial contact with Ricky Paz, and then Paz on the rebound ends up hitting Wingate teammate Brandon Schulenberger. Number of cars coming down pit road. The leader is not one of them, but Robbie Vrabel in second is leading a whole host of cars down pit lane this time. This is where the pit strategy decision starts to split a little bit amongst the field. Looks to be where around maybe 2/3 of the field has come in here, the pit, but there was definitely a number of the top 7 stayed out, or there were 7 cars who stayed out. So there's certainly a bit of strategy here that is being played out. One of the cars that stayed out was the current leader in Tim Robb out of America. Andrew Williams and Jeremy Miller, and also out Rhett Crane staying out as well. A number of cars in that top 10 who stayed out that time. Jason Willott, Matt Nordberg, looks like Zach DeWale, and then Tristan Yoder behind some of the cars who stayed out. Fifth caution of the day here, coming around lap 46, 47. On this rate, we are going to end up with around double digits by the time this one's all said and done. But now we're looking at the time table. A couple of interesting faces up in the top 10, thanks to some of the pit cycle here. Most notably, Dustin Buck in 8th. Didn't have an incredible run at Daytona, finished in the middle of with that number 68 car out of Waldorf University now sitting in the top 10, looking to potentially do some damage, as this pit cycle is now a little skewed between some of the leaders and some of the other cars who came into the pits. But this seems like a good a time as any to give you a quick rundown of the top 10 as we near the midway mark of this race. So right now, it is Tim Robb out of American University, who has led a number of laps here today, continues the lead at the moment. Andrew Williams to his outside, now running a high for the race of second, who spent a lot of this race so far in third and fourth. Jeremy Millerin, currently running in the third position out of two. He's kind of been hanging around the top 5 all day, and now Rhett Crane has worked his way back into the top 5 after being involved in that first caution back in the early going of this race. Currently running 5th is Jason Willott, who's very slowly but very methodically gained position after position each of these restarts and now finds himself in the top 5 for the first time this evening. Zach DeWale running 6th. He is running St. Clair car at the moment, thanks to Robbie Vrabel Jr. pitting just a moment ago. Running 7th, it is Matthew Nordberg out of NC State, one of the higher running alumni in the field at the moment. Certainly working his way up, gaining a number of positions. Robbie Vrabel Jr. and Dustin Buck are currently running 8th and 9th, respectively. And then running 10th is Clint Halterman out of UNC Charlotte with teammate Jared Kaler just outside of him. Lights are off on the pace car. We should be going green this time by. It'll be Robin Williams getting ready for the restart. And we'll take you on board here with Millerin for this restart here on lap 49. Not a great start in that outside lane for Andrew Williams. It is Tim Robb and Jeremy Miller in the very definitive 1-2 at the moment. Williams just trying to hold on to third place with Rhett Crane and Jason Willott all over the back. Looking to make a move here into turn 3 as both of those cars. Williams just trying to hold on to the position. It is Rhett Crane looking to the outside, Willott looking to the inside. Willott will slot back in behind Andrew Williams, but it is Rhett Crane side by side for third place, as we've now hit the midway point of the California 200 group. Crane coming down just a lane outside of Andrew Williams as they slide up. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate, who's going to make their way up. Andrew Williams giving Rhett Crane a little bit of room to the outside. They are still side by side behind, as it is DeWale trying to make the move on Jason Willott in 5th. Rhett Crane now a nose ahead of Andrew Williams. Big slide there from DeWale, but he keeps it forward. Crane still trying to fight for that third place position, just barely ahead of Andrew Williams as they dive into turn 1. But Williams now with that inside lane will pull ahead for a moment, but we'll see if Crane can get the good run on that higher lane on the outside. Couple of aggressive moves trying to cut in line just behind him. As right now it looks like that was Matthew Nordberg who slid in just ahead of Jason Willott as Nordberg continues his climb to the front of the field. Right now it's quite the battle, but Millerin has absolutely closed in on the leader, Tim, closing it in a quarter second, and now on his quarter panel as he looks to the outside going through 1 and 2. Millerin unable to make the pass that time, but now he's thinking about the inside and so gets back in the line, trying to get a little more of that draft to get him a little bit closer to that car out of American University before he makes the move. Robb, Millerin, Williams, your top 3 as it stands. Rhett Crane battling with Zach DeWale for 4th, the first position battle in this line. Back behind here, we have a battle. It is Alexander Light taking on Dustin Buck for right around that mark inside the top 10. Buck a little loose on those older tires, and that car from Duquesne is going to make a move on the outside, trying to get by the machine at a little bit. Light trying to make a move, and he's got a St. John's car behind him. It's Nicholas Budamiller. Back up toward the front of the field, Rhett Crane on the inside now of Andrew Williams, still trying to find a way to make that move. But now Dewale and Halterman, Dewale and Grable on the outside. We're trying to give that 23 car a bit of a draft push toward the front, as Millerin starting to slowly fall back into the grasp of that car out of Clemson. Dewale making a move on the outside past Rhett Crane. He'll move into the fourth position with relative ease, and now continues his sights, trying to get by potentially both Millerin and Andrew Williams, trying to get as high as second. Side by side behind it is Vrabel and Crane. All sorts of positions being traded amongst these top 5, 6, 7 cars here. Right now, the battle, though, between Robbie Vrabel Jr. and Rhett Crane. Robbie Vrabel Jr. was the first car on fresh tires out of that pit stop, and he's starting to put it to good use, making that inside lane work. He gets by Rhett Crane, now trying to get by his teammate, Zach Miller. Not able to complete the pass that time around, but will hang in to the draft behind him. And will look to make a move here on the outside. As right now, Williams is all over the back of Jeremy Miller, and 2 cars from the bottom lane coming up, and all of a sudden it is a sandwich from second back to 7th. Everyone trying to fight for the positions that they can grab at the moment. Vrabel got by a couple of cars there. Now he's on the inside of Millerin and Williams, trying to fight his way up to third and second. Robbie Vrabel Jr. on the newer tires has been making him work, but he's certainly been driving a far more aggressive line. So at some point we'll have to see if those tires even out, because he is certainly churning through them right now to make the passes that he is. As he comes up and slides ahead of Millerin, who ends up clipping the wall coming out of 4. A very tight piece, but the 075 gets it done, moves in the second, now has his eyes set on the leader, Tim Robb. Kaler now on those fresh tires, just flying past the 123 car on the inside. And all of a sudden, a couple of these cars on fresher tires are surging their way ahead. Both Vrabel and Kaler pit at the last pit stop. And not only have they worked their way up to Tim Robb, Vrabel is looking to make a move right here against that car out of American University. Vrabel to the outside for the lead. And he is just going to fly by him on that outside lane, and will probably be able to complete the here coming off of 1 and 2 if he maintains this pace. Tim Robb trying to fight back on the inside, but those fresher tires proved to be a little bit too much, as the 075 roar back in first place, with Jared Kaler not too far behind. Meanwhile, Millerin still holding in on the top 5 of the older tires. Tim Robb back to third. We'll have to see if there's another caution soon to bail out those who may have not hit on that last caution, because the tires are now starting to catch up with that decision, and they're starting to fall back behind the guys who pit for the fresh tires. As there is quite the scrum going on right there outside around the top 5. Guys like Nordberg, Williams, and the Whale all fighting for it. Right now, Williams trying to get by on the Whale on the outside. Got a great run coming off of 2. Got the nose ahead now, the full car ahead. Completes the pass and stays ahead of the O2 machine out of St. Clair. Right now, we're now looking at Rhett Crane on the outside of Clint Halterman, as Millerin gets a little loose through 3 and 4, able to save it, but Halterman's going to fly by on the inside and moves into the 5th position. Clint Halterman now in the top 5. Also, Esteban Munoz in the top 5. He's kind of snuck in there with the fresher tires. Kind of not a little under the radar behind Kaler and Vrabel there, but now that car out of FIU making his move toward the front as he's trying to run down Tim Robb. Millerin and Williams just trying to contain the damage as they continue to slide further and further back into the top 10 on those older tires. Still battling with each other, but a host of cars behind them. Right now, Zach Whale looking to the inside of that car out of Purdue. We'll see if he can make the pass coming up through here. A little bit of smoke. We'll see if there was anything there. Nope. Everything's green. Everything's good, it looks like. Right now, Robbie Vrabel Jr. just trying to drive away from Jared Taylor and the rest of the field. He's got a couple tenths advantage over the number 1 car. Clint Halterman now makes the move past Munoz for 3rd. Munoz for 4th. Tim Robb still in the top 5. The highest running car on the older tires. Right now, though, Munoz still trying to find his way back past Clint Halterman in that 07 car, as there is a chain of cars up top. That is Miller and Williams, and then Nordberg was there for a second. Now Nordberg looking more to the inside, trying to get by him here along with the rail. However, Miller and Williams will hold on to those spots for the moment, currently running 7th and 8th. Nordberg now trying to make the surge on the outside. There is quite the scrap going on here in the later half of the top 10 as everyone's trying to fight for position. Nordberg nearly was sideways there. Kolpa almost sideways as well. He has to get out of the throttle to save it. And Colin Kolpa, who was just knocking on the door of the top 10, will lose a spot to Jason Willott, but probably nothing more than that, as he still has quite a gap over Alex Light. These cars on the older tires are really starting to feel it now, really trying to hold on to it as these things start to loosen up. As is now Williams and Miller, and who've slid back are still where they are, but they've changed positions here. DeWale also trying to hang in the mix with it. As we approach the 2/3 mark completed of this race, Robbie Vrabel Jr. has opened it up to a 7/10 advantage over Jared Taylor. And he is starting to drive away from those duos of the 2 UNC Charlotte cars of Taylor and Halterman. Some lap traffic potentially coming into play, though, here for Vrabel, as that is Zach Self, who goes all the way up to the wall to try to stay out of the way of the leaders. Not able to really complete the pass, though, and he'll end up actually coming along side by side. That might help Taylor close in the gap a little bit. The gap now down from 7/10 to 4.5. And it continues to drop here as Taylor makes it into turn number 1. That also allowed Clint Halterman to pull up onto the back of Jared Taylor and on the back end. It is a 3-car battle for second once they get back to Taylor and then Halterman and Munoz. Zach Self, who is not on the lead lap at the moment, currently right in the mix of all of it. Munoz and Halterman go high. They're behind the lap traffic of Self. Right now, Kaler on the inside looking to make a move past that 77 car. For being a lap down, that 77 still has quite a bit of speed as the leaders are struggling to make the overtake. Might be on slightly fresher tires is the 77. He's hanging right there with him. Kaler still finally now can make the move past the lapped car and go back to his pursuit of Robbie Vrabel. Didn't lose too much time through all that fighting. He gained about 2/10 on Vrabel when Vrabel first hit the lap traffic, and then has been able to kind of maintain that gap as the car was just barely able to make it down pit road before missing the pit zone. But it is Vrabel. Oh, now the caution's out. Lap 66, there is a caution out. Probably not for the car on pit road. Let's see what happened on board here with that looked to be, oh, yeah, someone's in the grass. Matthew Nordberg coming out of the grass here, who was running up right around the 10th position when the caution came out. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened. So Nordberg here. Oh, contact between the 006 and the 31, Kolpa and Burton, and Nordberg just had nowhere to go as that collapsed up in front of him. A number of other cars were also collected in that one. Let's see who else may have been involved. McCall, the 018 out of Purdue, also in it, as cars were sideways through the grass. On board here with Colin Kolpa as we get to go face first with a safer barrier, spinning around to make eye contact. Oh man, some people flying right in front of him as that was happening. That's going to be a scary onboard view for the 006 and Colin Kolpa. Tough break there for some of those cars who were battling right around the 10th position. but that'll definitely be a prime time for, I would assume, probably everybody, but especially those who did not pit on the last caution to come and get fresh tires and fuel. That is a blessing for those 7 cars who stayed out during the last caution. So guys like Tim Robb, like Andrew Williams, like Jeremy Miller. Here they come down pit road. Basically everybody coming down pit road here. Everyone thinking it's about prime time for some fresh Goodyears and some fuel, as everyone will charge their way down to the pit box, and we'll see if Robbie Vrabel's able to win the race off of pit road like he did the last time there was a full stop on pit road, or if someone else might try a different strategy here, maybe taking 2 or something to try and jump out ahead of him, although there is still about 30 laps to go in this one. Here comes everyone charging off of pit road. The absolute stampede coming, but it will be Robbie Vrabel who's able to maintain it. A slow stop there potentially for Athena Leclerc, but it is Vrabel, Kaler, Halterman, 1, 2, 3. The same way they came in through the top 3 is the same way they were going to come out. So Vrabel, Kaler, Halterman, Munoz, DeWale, your top 5. Tim Robb up to 6th. Andrew Williams, Brett Crane, Alex Light gaining a couple of positions up to 9th, and Jason Willott, 10th, is your top 10 coming off pit road. Millerin, Cummings, and Burton, who was involved in that wreck a moment ago, able to keep it within the top 15. It's been a race where we've only seen a couple of major players up toward the front. I can't imagine that'll really change at this point, other than maybe seeing Tim Robb make a couple of moves toward the front. But we've seen a number of these cars already toward the front today. Guys like Robbie Vrabel, guys like Jeremy Miller, and guys like Tim Robb, guys like Jared Kaler. Although Kaler hasn't really been battling for the lead as much as he has for positions in the 5. Yeah, so some of the biggest movers we've had here today. Timothy Wilms out of Drexel University, up 18 positions from where he started. Also, Ethan Head out of the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, 14 positions from where he started. He's having a great run here today. Andrew McCall was involved in that earlier wreck, but he's still up plus 12 from where he was at the start of this race. He's having himself a pretty stellar evening thus far. And Austin DeLong, who had been involved in an earlier incident as well, still up plus 12 from where he qualified. So it shows that with that fast rate, you can really bounce back. Bradley Daniels out of Robert Morris University, also up plus 12. That seems to be a running theme with our big movers here, as these guys are now up from the back of the pack in the late 20s and 30s up to that, then that top 15, top 20-ish area. Lights are off on the pace car, so we'll be getting green here in just a moment. It'll be Vrabel on the inside, Kaler on the outside, Halterman and Munoz behind. When we go green, it'll be 30 laps to go here from Auto Club, as we might have our run to the finish here. The trend of the race may not suggest it, but you never know. Pace car is in. Cars lined up 2 by 2, almost 40 rows deep, or almost 20 rows deep, 40 cars. As here comes the green flag waving, cars roaring down the front stretch into turn 1. It is Robbie Vrabel Jr. leading the pack, but it is Kaler and then Munoz running top 3. Tim Robb on an absolute charge, starting back around the 5th or 6th mark, now battling up all the way to the 3rd position and is looking for more past Kaler. Oh, and there's contact on the front stretch. Who is that? That is Zach DeWale, and I think that might be Clint Halterman of the 07 car. No caution out at the moment. Both cars, I guess, keeping it forward. but that is going to be devastating to both of these cars' chances to win here today. They were running within the top 5 or 6 cars, and they've certainly lost a lot of positions now. There we see Halterman and DeWale going through the grass. They were running for around the 5th or 6th position at the time, making contact off of turn 4, and they both end up in the grass trying to keep the car off the pit lane wall. Right now at the front, though, it is Robbie Brable. Tim, just two dominant performers all evening, who found their way back to the front here with 28 laps to go. Tim Robb now looking to the outside, trying to make the pass. Gets that run down the backstretch. He might be able to do it here when they get to turn 3. Kaler and Munoz just behind, watching this unfold. Trying to keep it back on the inside is Robbie Vrabel, but Tim Robb has pulled ahead, and that American University car into the wall for a second, and now there's more cars in the wall. There's Willott and Miller, and Willott sideways. Can he keep it forward? No caution once again for the moment, as Willott keeps it on the apron. He made contact with Jeremy Miller in off the 4, right after I was saying that Tim Robb had made contact with the outside wall. That outside wall in 4 is so dangerous because it's very... You don't realize where it is until the last sort of second when you come up sliding off the banking here in turn 4. I've done it a couple of times in my CIL career, and it's definitely reached out and bit a number of drivers here today. So it is Tim Robb still maintaining the lead over Robbie Vrabel despite all that action unfolding behind him. But it is Robb, Vrabel, Rhett Crane now in third, with Williams and Kaler around the outside. Crane looking to the outside of Robbie Vrabel, trying to see if he can make a move for second. This is Tim Robb's first CIL race at Auto Club. Robbie Vrabel, the reigning Auto Club winner when he won here back in season 5. So a bit of experience in the CIL on that front versus one of the relative newcomers. And in terms of just raw pace at the moment, they are pretty evenly matched, as they are trying to work their way around the lap car. Caden Kimball. Kimball gets really loose, makes some contact with Andrew Williams. Williams is able to keep it forward, but definitely lost some pace, as Caden Kimball nearly wiped out the front of the field there, trying to get out of the way. Andrew Williams dropping a couple of positions from that, now battling with Esteban Munoz for 7th when he was running back in the 3rd or 4th position. Also now into the top 5 for one of the first times since the start of the green flag. It is Alex Light out of Duquesne University. Had a really rough go at Daytona, but now sneaking back into the top 5. Potentially might have something to do this to work his way past Jared Hill. Right on the back bumper here is Light trying to make a move. And the caution out there. Okay, that is just the scoring pylon lied to me. I apologize to you all. It looked like we might have had another caution, but we stay green, which is good because we have some great battling happening at the front of the pack here. Alex Light all over the back of Jared Kaler for 4th. Tim Robb with a very slight lead over Rhett Crane and Robbie Vrabel for 1st. 25 laps to go here at the California 200. Tim Robb currently out front, as he has been a good bit of today, as Rhett Crane up into the wall making contact there. I know people have heard of the Darlington stripe. We might need an Auto Club stripe after the way this one has been going here today. Jake Cummins making a good charge back to the front here. He's just made his way past the 23 car of Andrew Williams and is now looking to get by the number 9 of Esteban Munoz. Munoz has been hanging around this top 5, top 10 for much of the day. Kaler trying to defend from the 611 car of Alex Light, 4th position. Kaler taking the low side. Alex Light trying to surge on the outside. He's got some room there. He's now side by side as they come off the corner. Can he keep it there? Nope, Kaler able to close the door for the moment, and Alex Light's going to fall back into line. Battling, picking up throughout the field. This one here toward the back of the top 10 is a female player trying to make the move on DeLong. DeLong trying to keep it to the outside. Not able to make the path there, and the player will stay ahead for the moment. a whole host of cars, including Matthew Burton, Matthew Nordberg, Colin Pope behind them, and Matt Stowicki out of James Madison University as well. Matt Stowicki running that inside line. Burton now trying to look to the inside of the long. They are currently running for that 12th position. Burton now trying to defend from Matthew Nordberg and Colin Culper on the outside. One of the few cars of this pack running the inside line in 1 and 2. Some great battling happened throughout the field here at Auto Club. A lot of room to work on these corners when you have, especially on the fresher tires, you can kind of go wherever. As things start to wear out, though, you start having to pick usually either the inside or the outside. You don't really run too much of a mix. There's a bit of a wiggle there from the 6'11". Brett Crane just trying to hold on the third right now from Jared Taylor. Vrabel Jr. trying to make the pass on Tim Robb on the inside. They are side by side going through 1 and 2. Vrabel able to surge ahead, and it is now Robbie Vrabel Jr. taking the lead. Tim Robb now in danger of losing second and potentially third as well, as Brett Crane and Jared Taylor charge to the inside in the 3 and 4. Tim Robb suddenly not nearly as quick as he was a lap or two ago. Brett Crane makes the pass for second. Taylor's now battling with Robb for third. Robb a little loose, trying to get through the turns 3 and 4. And now everyone just trying to pounce. They smell blood in the water, and they're trying to make a move on Tim Robb, the man who was leading this race just a couple of laps ago, now in 5th and jeopardy of losing even more. Alex Light to the inside here of Tim Robb. Robb still not really able to make that high line stick, and now Williams might give him a shot here going down the back. Definitely a bit of contact there, as their caution is out once again with 20 laps to go. Let's see if we can figure out what happened there, as everything is starting to slow back down to pace and speed. That might be a blessing in disguise for Tim Robb, because he was starting to drop positions in a hurry. But now there is a caution out toward the back of the field here, it looks like. We see the 09 getting around here through turns 3 and 4. We'll see if he was involved in it in just a second when we take a look at the replay. Well, once again, we will not have the benefit of replay. I do think I may have seen Connor Levy as one of the cars that were stopped. We did see the 09 here of Treston Yoder, who was getting moving as we cut to whatever the accident may have been. Unfortunately, replay did not catch it, so we will not have the ability to show it to you all at home. Shout out to some technological issues that have been the nature of the beast here when it comes to trying to keep track of iRacing. A lot of horsepower required to keep an eye on all 40 cars at once, and sometimes that can just be a little much for a computer. But just about everyone coming down pit road here with 19 laps to go, and what could be one of the final stints to the end is one of the final prime opportunities for fuel and tires. Fueling up here will be able to easily get you to the end of this race. Let's see who wins this battle off of pit road. Vrabel has won a couple of the battles so far from that number 1 pit stall. We'll see if anyone has something for him this time around. They will not, as Robbie Vrabel wins the race off pit road. Brett Crane second, and then it was a tough one for third between Kaler and Tim Robb. I think Kaler took it. So Kaler third, Tim Robb fourth. Tim Robb gaining a couple of positions on pit road after sinking back to around 6 or 7 on that final couple laps before the caution. Once people are kind of back on track here, we will do a quick rundown of our top 10 cars coming into what could be potentially the final restart of the day. Time starting to wind down for a lot of these competitors, especially anyone who's back behind, say, like the top 15, top 20. If you're really going to make a move, you got to do it now because you're running out of time to do it. But as it stands, the Season 5 winner of Auto Club, the alumni Robbie Vrabel Jr. out of St. Clair College, currently runs in the first position. Brett Crane out of Ball State currently runs in position number 2. In third is the reigning student division champion Jared Kaler out of UNC Charlotte. Alongside him, the man who's probably led the most laps here today, Tim Robb out of American University. In the 5th position, it is Alex Light out of Duquesne University in that 611 car. Running 6th, it is Andrew Williams out of Clemson University for Orange Wheel Racing. In 7th, it is Esteban Munoz, the FIU car, Panther Esports, currently sitting in P7, with position number 8 being held by Jake Cummings out of Wingate University, who's had a very up and down day so far. Running P9 is Brandon Schulenberger out of Wingate University. A couple of Wingate guys up here in the top 10. Certainly a strong showing for that university so far. And running 10th, it is Matthew Nordberg out of NC State, who has rebounded from that earlier incident to find himself back in the top 10. Running 11th is Jeremy Millerin, the reigning alumni champion. And running 12th, it is Austin DeLong out of the Penn College of Technology. The lights are off on the pace car. We're just about to go green here. Vrabel has been really good on his restarts so far here this evening. We'll see if Brett Crane has anything for him this time around, as when they hit the stripe, it'll only be 16 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. Not a great jump for that outside line. A couple of guys immediately shooting to the outside. And it'll be Robbie Vrabel Jr. who will take control of first as they dive into turn 1. A lot of action happening right around the 10th place mark as cars are battling all over the track. Cummins trying to look up the inside of Tim Robb. Andrew Williams on the outside. They are 3 wide going through 3 and 4. Williams trying to make a move, and DeLong is sideways into the infield grass. Caution is out once again. Austin DeLong in that Penn-Tech car, sideways coming off of turn number 4. We'll have to take a look to see if it was something of his own accord or if he got help getting sideways into the infield grass. It'll bring out, I believe, the 8th caution of the day here. As there was contact there, I think that was one of the St. Clair cars. Might have been the number 61 of Athena Leclerc or the 02 of Zach Webb. Yeah, not a lot of room really to go for either of those drivers. However, seems to be the only real car in the incident there was the number 22. Didn't really collect anyone else in the process. And here is the viewpoint from the 22. As you can see, a whole lot of a lot more of the horizon visible than you want to be able to see as that car was spinning around through the infield. Yep, and that, I believe, was Athena Leclerc was the car that made contact with the 22. Certainly been a bit of a rough one here for that Penn College Esport car, as they've had their ups and downs today. They keep finding their way back into around the 10th place area, but then they drop back through incidents, whether it was their fault or not. But either way, when we get this one restarted, there will only be probably about 11 or 12 laps to go as we get our way even closer to the conclusion of this race, as there is contact there between the 86 and the 8. Timothy Wilms of Drexel and Ethan Head out of Tennessee. Don't know if that was under green or under caution, but that was under caution contact between the 8 and the 86. Boy, if I'm Tim Wilms, I am fuming right now. So, contact happening under green, contact happening under the yellow flag. You know, just a whole lot of physicality being shown all around out here today in this Fontana sun. Starting to get a little closer to the golden hour here as well. Starting to see a lot more sunlight on the trees on the back of the track. But when we return to green flag racing, I think it'll be 12 laps to go when we go green. Yeah. So, having the top 10 not change all that much, we will take a look at 11th through 20th. Running 11th is Matthew Nordberg, down one spot from the last restart out of NC State. Running 12th, it is Matt Stowecki out of James Madison University, one of the newcomers to the CIL this year. You love to see when we get some new faces and some new schools here in CIL competition. Running 13th is Athena Leclerc, one of the two cars involved in that little tangle with Austin DeLong just a moment ago out of St. Running 14th, it is Matthew Burton out of East Tennessee State University. And running 15th, it is the number 77 of Zachary Self out of Minnesota State Mankato. Running 16th, it is Jacob Wiest, who out of UNC Charlotte. Timothy Wilms running 17th, who was just involved in that incident with Ethan Head under caution. Drexel teammate Jason Willott, currently running 18th. He was the winner at Daytona, has not been nearly as much of a factor here today at Auto Club. Running 19th at the moment is Andrew McCall out of the University of Purdue, and running 20th, it is Bradley Daniels through Robert Morris University. So those are some of the cars you'll see. Zach DeWale, Clint Halterman, a couple of front runners running 21st and 22nd just behind them. The lights on the pace car are out once again, which means once again we'll try to get some green flag racing in. What do we think, folks? Do we think we're going to see a green flag run to the end, or we're going to get another caution? That is the question. So, lights go off. Restart about to go. We are on board here with the number 6 car of Rhett Crane for this restart. Robbie Brable. We are on board with the number 7 car. Cars spanning all the width of the backstretch here, coming off of turn 2. Robbie Brable holding on to the lead for the moment. Kaler and Williams running 2nd and 3rd. When they hit the stripe, it'll be 11 laps to go. Robbie Brable has been one of the dominant 2 cars here today. We'll see if Kaler or Williams has anything for him. Williams now on the back bumper of Jared Kaler, trying to make it move as Jake Cummins looking to the inside of Rhett Crane for 4th position. Tim Robb all the way up toward the wall, also in this fight with Alex Light. Rhett Crane holding on to the position for now as Tim Robb looks to make the move past Cummins as well on the outside. Williams and Kaler still doing battle for 2nd as they are hanging off of each other, trying to keep Robbie Brable within reach here. 10 laps to go this time by here in the California 200. Only 20 miles left. We'll see who can bring it home to the end. Rob looking to the inside of Rhett Crane, able to make the pass. Slides up. Rhett Crane looking to go back on the inside here down the backstretch. They will be side by side in turn 3. Rhett Crane jumps back into line, though, before then to keep Alex Light behind, as Light is battling with Jake Cummings for something. A little bit of contact there out of the 6 car of Rhett Crane. Alex Light looking to take advantage, but everyone kind of staying single file for now as the laps starting to tick away. Brable still maintaining a slight lead as Williams looking to the inside now to try and get Jared Kaler. Williams got a little loose, though, had to back out of the throttle, and that's going to cost him dearly as a train of cars are looking to make a move on the outside. Oh, Williams into the wall. He got clipped by Rhett Crane trying to get back into the line. Light makes contact with Cummings. Everyone keeps their cars forward, but all sorts of chaos happening here up in the front of the field. Tim Robb now trying to get to the inside quarter of Jared Kaler, trying to make a move. They are side by side here as Vrabel now starting to pull away with all this battling. Side by side, still coming out of turn number 2. Plenty of room given between the two. Tim Robb will slide back in behind here. 8 laps to go as they roar down into turn number 3. Still using all the track available. They're running low. They're running high. Anything to try and get them up toward the front of the field here now that time is starting to run out on a lot of these guys' chances to win this race. Right now it is Rhett Crane trying to find a way back past Tim Robb for 3rd place, all over the back bumper here through 1 and 2. And now Williams has sneaked his way back up into the top 5, trying to get back to where he was for the contact on the back. Jake Cummins on the inside of a host of cars here, trying to make a move on the inside. He's been trying there all day. Hasn't had a ton of success as Kaler gets a little sideways off the nose of Tim Robb and keeps forward. But that opens the door for Rhett Crane on the outside. Kaler with a hard block on him. 6 laps to go now, and they are haymakers at each other, trying to get up in the 2nd place to challenge Robbie Vrabel. 3 wide going into turn 1 and 2. It's Robb, Williams, and Crane. Kaler ahead of the whole pack there with Alex Light right behind him. It's a shock that Kaler is able to hold on to 2nd after being that sideways in turns 3 and 4. It is Kaler, then Crane, then Alex Light now in the 4th as Williams lost some speed going through that low lane in 1 and 2. Kaler shuts the door there on Rhett Crane on the low side. Alex Light looking high to try and get past Rhett Crane for 3rd. Kaler throws the block on Alex Light. One hell of a battle going on for 2nd right now as Robbie Vrabel continues to use this to his advantage and start to pull away. Light to the outside now of Kaler. They are 2 by 2 by 2, numbers of rows deep through the corner here. Everyone's trying to find their way forward. Some contact there off of 2. Cummings gets sent down to the apron. They are absolutely fighting ferociously here. Schollenberger now making his move up into the top group as well. But Alex Light has cleared Jared Kaler, and now with only 4 laps to go this time by, it is going to be an absolute war for 2nd through the rest of the top 10. There's got to be at least like 12 cars here fighting for like the top 4 positions behind the leader. And Robbie Vrabel continues to drive into the distance as Kaler does battle with Light, Williams, and Schollenberger. Brandon Schollenberger has turned it on late, now finding himself in the 3rd position, coming in from relatively out of nowhere, as they are wrecking on the backstretch. Rhett Crane sideways, Tim Robb in the infield there. The Panther Esports car, Esteban Munoz is sideways. Everyone's scattering to clear him. Caution is out. Oh no, they nearly took out Andrew Pearl in the process. They were just fighting so hard for every position there. You just had a feeling that there was no way that was going to stay green, and sure enough, it happened. Brandon Schollenberger was dropping down the timing table as well. I wonder if he got involved in that as well. He was making such a surge to the front of the field. So let's take a look at what happened here. And just contact with Robb and Munoz and Rhett Crane and a couple of other cars. Those are the ones who really got the worst of it. Particularly Munoz and Crane, who were running in the top 5 and now are sideways. Their hopes of winning this one are probably dashed. We'll have to see what started the initial contact there. I know that Munoz made contact with Crane. I have to see if someone made contact with Munoz. Munoz and Tim Robb made the initial contact. It would seem Tim Robb, that's what jolted him all the way down to the infield of the track there, and then the rebound caught Rhett Crane. That's what sent the 6 and the 9 sideways. And when this is all said and done, we will probably be lining up for the 1 attempt at a green-white check. Some people pit, some people didn't. A little bit of differing strategies here. We'll have to see which one ends up being the prevailing one. I got to imagine with it being just a green-white checker, there wouldn't be enough time for those who pit to make their way up through the front of the field again. But, you know, I've been wrong many a times before, so maybe this is one of those as well. Right now on board with Esteban Munoz as he comes in for what he'll be his final stop of the day. On board with Munoz here during the wreck, and you can just see the amount of contact that happened there on the left side, then going up toward the outside retaining wall, and everyone just flying by him. As you can see, his hopes at winning this one more than likely dashed. So, with going to be the green-white checker coming out here, it is Robbie Vrabel, Jared Kaler, Alex Light, Andrew Williams, and then a St. Clair car that is Athena Leclerc in your top 5, Jason Willott and Tim Robb, 6th and 7th. Certainly leaves a lot of question marks on what it's going to be, because the two most dominant cars today have been Tim Robb and Robbie Vrabel. Vrabel currently leads this race. Tim Robb finds himself back in 7th. Is he too far back to make the move for the win becomes the question. Kaler has been hanging around 2nd through 4th all day today, but he just hasn't seemed to have the speed to challenge Robbie Vrabel for the lead. And Alex Light, who's currently running in the 3rd position, has only gotten here relatively recently. He qualified really well. He qualified in the top 10, kind of fell back a bit, and has only recently found his way back to this top 5 in the hunt here. Andrew Williams just had some really good pace today. Probably around Kaler, though, in that like 2nd, 4th range. And then you have Athena Leclerc and Jason Willott, who really have only found their way into the top 5 now on this final restart. And then Tim Robb, who led a ton of laps behind him. So it does raise the question of who really is going to be the one, if anyone, to challenge Robbie Vrabel Jr. for the win here as we get ready for what's going to probably be the green-white checker. Lights are out on the pace car. It'll be a green flag lap, the final lap, and then the checkered flag. And there's only the one attempt at it, so more than likely, whatever we're about to see here will be the end of this race. With the way this race has gone, I can't imagine they run these last 2 laps without a caution. I'll just be entirely honest with you. Everyone has been fighting for every position, and it's clearly shown. But it'll be Vrabel and Kaler row 1, Light and Williams row 2. Here we go. Time for what will be the final restart here of the California 200 here, the 2nd race of the CIL Cup Series season. Who is going to be the one to punch their ticket to the playoff 10? Green flags back in the air. Vrabel once again with a great jump. He's been dominant on the restarts all day, and he jumps out to a couple car length advantage over Jared Kaler and Alex Light. Vrabel dives into the corner. Light and Kaler battling for 2nd. Athena Leclerc just behind Light for 3rd. Here comes Alex Light on the inside of Kaler. The caution is already out. Well, what did I say? I figured there was going to be one. I was hoping we were going to get a little farther into that run. You know, here we are. Let's see if we can take a look at what that caution is, what will be the final caution of today. Wasn't anything at the front of the field. Might have been something, it looks like something toward the back of the pack there, maybe in like that 20s to 30s range. As we are on the final lap here, but because that was the green-white checkered, Robbie Vrabel Jr. out of St. Clair College will be named the winner of today's California 200, 2nd race of the CIL Cup Series season. It'll be Robbie Vrabel in 1st place, Alex Light out of Duquesne coming home P2, and rounding out your podium, it's Jared Kaler 3rd. Athena Leclerc will bring it home 4th. Andrew Williams rounds out your top 5 as Vrabel will taxi it to the start-finish line and claim his first checkered flag of Season 7. And they have lined up behind the pace car. Vrabel having a bit of fun with it by just driving right into the back of it. And that will do it. The St. Clair College team and Robbie Vrabel Jr. winners here today at California Auto Club Speedway. Alex Light second, Jared Kaler third. We will try and get them queued up for an interview in just a few moments, but that was there was a lot of action up front. There was no doubt about that. Plenty of battling all throughout those top, 5-10 positions. Certainly the cautions to show for how hard they were battling as well. But in the end, in this battle of attrition, it was Robbie Vrabel who came out victorious. So we will have to see what is the first person we get into the interview room here. We'll be talking to Vrabel, we'll be talking to Light, and we'll be talking to Kaler. Although that was qualifying results. Okay, I got very very confused for a second. And I was like, I don't think Athena finished second. But yeah, so we will be getting the three of them into the booth here in just a moment. But overall, a very fun race. A bit of a slower pace with a lot of the cautions breaking up the action. But when we were green, boy oh boy, were they battling 2, 3, 4 wide. In what has been quite the battle so far. Robbie Vrabel joins Jason Willott as the two drivers locked into the playoff 10 here when we get there later this season. The first alumni to punch their ticket to the finals as well. And while we're waiting for some folks to join the interview room, I think we'll take a look here at some of our top finishers. So, Robbie Vrabel, obviously your winner today. Alex Light, Jared Kaler in second and third place. Athena LeClaire from St. Clair College finishing fourth. Andrew Williams out of Clemson finishing fifth place today. Jason Willott, the Daytona winner, finishes sixth for Drexel University. Tim Robb, who was battling with Robbie Vrabel much of the day, finishes seventh for American. Jacob Weist for USC Charlotte in eighth. Zach Self out of Minnesota State Mankato rebounds to a nice ninth place finish here today. And Zach Duell becomes the third driver out of St. Clair College to finish in the top 10 today with his 10th place result. I do believe we have our first guest just about ready to go here to interview. So, Producer Scott, do we want to interview them or do we want to through the rest of the top 18? All right, so we are going to be bringing in, this is Alex Light, who is joining us now, the P2 finisher from today's California 200 at Auto Club. So, Alex, you got me?
There we go. Now I want to cooperate.
As it tends to many a times, I'm sure. But, Alex, congratulations on a P2 finish today, bringing home that Duquesne machine onto the podium after what was a pretty rough go at Daytona. How does it feel to get a nice bounce back result here after how week one went for you?
It feels so good. I mean, last week, a little bit of a disappointment. I kind of expected it going in, though. My super speedway luck has not been great. But yeah, coming back, we had that incident early on in the race that pushed us to the back and just had the pace all race long. Just the big thing was keeping the car clean, and we managed to do that. But just a huge shout out to my crew, Nick Renner and Carl Puller, for help guiding me through a lot of the some of the incidents that were on track.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that came into fruition today because there was quite a few incidents on track. But outside of that one early, you were able to rebound and get yourself in position to really make it happen here today. I've gotta ask. So now that you have finished P2 here, do you think there's anything that you could have done differently to try and challenge Vrabel for the win there?
I think of that last run before the final caution, just saving the tires a little bit more. We got that caution with, I think it was like 14 to go. We said just full send, and so I did. And when I was fighting with Jared there for second place, I felt the right front really burn up when I got around him on the front stretch. And so had I saved a little bit more, might have been able to have a better run up towards the lead for Robbie. But at the same time, it is what it is. He had quite the lead. He had phenomenal pace all race long.
Yeah, absolutely. He was one of the two cars who really found their way in the laps led category today. But real final question here for you while I'm thinking about it. Do you have anyone that you'd like to thank, shout out, mention here for while you have a second here on the interview, post race interview here?
Yeah, like I said, shout out to Nick and Carl, my crew that helped guide me through all that. Shout out to the org that I'm a part of, Limitless Esports, as well as our sponsors, Advanced GG, Fresh Cut, and there's one I'm forgetting, and I cannot remember for the life of me now. One Shot Energy. Shout out to them as well, and shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us up here, Alex. Congratulations on the P2. Maybe next week we'll see you with that one spot higher up in the standings. You never know.
All right, we'll hope so.
All right. Well, that was Alex Light, our P2 finisher here today. Now joining us, it is our P3 finisher and last year's series champion, Jared Kaler. Jared, bringing the home P3 today, hanging around the top 5 most of the day today. How would you describe your run?
It was exciting. Auto Club is always one of the best tracks on iRacing, I think. It also helps that it's my home track, so I have a sweet spot for it already. But it was a little bit difficult with saving tires, and then you had people that weren't really saving tires, and you're trying to balance when do I push, when do I not push. So yeah, you're just kind of trying to manage your tires, but at the same time, you're trying to manage your track position. So it's kind of that game of which one do you want to do, because obviously if you push, you're going to get more track position, but then you're going to burn your tires off. So it's kind of playing that cat and mouse game of what you want to do, and it's a lot of fun here.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like you were having quite a bit of fun, kind of duking it out with some of the leaders most of the day. Those battles for like second, third, and fourth got really hectic at times. How did you navigate through some of those wrecks that were happening up at the front there to keep it in position for the win all day?
Some luck, that's for sure. I mean, I know on that like last 10 lap run, that back bumper is getting beat up. I mean, it was a little bit crazy, but Robbie and Alexander and Andrew and everyone up there ran a great race, and it was super close, super competitive, and a lot of fun.
Well, with that being said, do you have anyone you'd like to shout out, mention, or thank here with your time here in the post race interview?
I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the stream, and I got a couple people watching. So hello to them and Niner Esports, and yeah, see if we can take this run and get some momentum rolling for the rest of the season, and see if we can get another championship.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck to you the rest of the way here. Maybe next week we see you back in Victory Lane. You never know.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Alrighty, that was Jared Kaler, our third place finisher today in the California 200, which means it is time for us to be joined by Robbie Vrabel Jr., today's winner of the California 200. Robbie, first off, what are your thoughts on today's race? Obviously, you were up near the front most of the day and were able to capitalize and convert it into a win.
That was a big one. There's a lot more competition this time around than years past. It's always nice to be racing against Kaler. He's one that I try to compare myself to quite a bit because of how much pace he's got. But a lot of these names that were up there, man, they're so fast. So this is big. This is a lot bigger than last year's win, that's for sure.
Yeah, certainly quite a bit of a battle up there. I mean, at times you looked like the dominant car, and then at times there would be guys who flew by you for a little bit, and then you found a way to work your way back. Were you ever discouraged when someone got by you there for the lead, or was just like, all right, well, now I know that I need to chase someone again as opposed to look out the rear mirror?
So oddly enough, I'm really bad when it comes to saving tires. I'm usually one of the ones that just drives it for what it's worth, 100%, and I usually burn my stuff up. And this is the first race that I tried the tire saving, because the last race I ran at Dover, Jared and Zach, they both taught me a little lesson on what it's like to save tires. So this race, it was difficult. Again, it's the first time that I've truly tried the whole tire saving thing, especially in this car. It's so important. So yeah, I mean, when Tim got out to that big of a lead early, I was like, oh my god, like, I hope this works. The first time I caught him, I felt pretty comfortable in what I was doing, and I was just trying to be smooth with the wheel, smooth with the gas. The bumps are really tricky. You know, if you get in the gas too early and you catch a bump the wrong way, man, it can step out on you in a hurry. So I was just trying to be mindful of all that, and then yeah, there at the end, you know, when we got a caution with 20 to go, I was really worried about Tim because of his pace, and once the caution started coming, like once we got to 10 to go, there was no saving after that. It was right back to the old ways and just drive it for what it was worth and build the biggest lead I could. And I didn't think they'd have enough time to catch me with 5 to go or whatever, so I was pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, certainly. You made it count when it mattered late. You won the season 5 race here. You've won obviously now this year in season 7. What is it about Auto Club that fits your driving style so well? What do you enjoy about it the most?
Oh man, just a lot of experience. I've got a lot of laps around this place. It's for me, it's a rhythm track. It something about it. It's the same thing lap after lap, and it's so easy to get into a rhythm here. Yes, the straightaways are long, but for me, it's just so easy to get into a rhythm, and just the way you got to wrap the line. I've seen a lot of guys around the top. I thought about it. There was a couple times I went up there. I think I passed one car on the outside today, which is one more than I thought I would, but I don't think I really had a choice. Uh, but again, the whole tire saving just it's just a rhythm racetrack, and it's odd because it's a 2 mile track, but something about it. I love the old worn out surface. It's a lot of fun to race on. It's got character. It's what we love. There's options for everybody to get around here. I just so happen to be the lucky guy to pick the right line and manage my tires all race, and I came away with a win. It's pretty awesome.
Well, congratulations again. Anyone you would like to mention, thanks, shout out. This is the time to do so here on the post race interview. If you want to thank anybody.
Of course, Dan Banners and everybody at St. Clair College for allowing me to do this. Races their alumni. It's really awesome. It's so cool to see how this has grown. You guys for doing the broadcast and letting us have a little extra fun doing this. And then on the pro side, just everybody at Lockdown Racing, Sparko, McConey set up shop, especially. Jeff has been supporting me now for the last couple of years, and he's a really nice guy. He's been nice enough to help out the St. Clair group whenever they want to do open as well, and Rise Esports for everything that they do for Zach, and yeah, I think that just about covers everybody.
Alrighty. Well, that was Robbie Rabel Jr., your winner here today from the CIL California 200, the second different driver in 2 races to not only win the race, but potentially punch their ticket to the playoff 10. With that being said, producer Scott, do you think it's time for the full results rundown? Alrighty. So once again, it was Robbie Rabel Jr. out of St. Clair College taking home the win today. Alexander Light from Duquesne coming home second. Jared Kaler out of UNC Charlotte in third. Athena Leclerc in fourth place for the second car in the top 5 for St. Clair College. Andrew Williams rounding out your Thompson fifth place finish here today. Last week's winner, Jason Willott, battling back to the 6th place finish for Drexel University. Tim Robb, one of the 2 dominant cars all day, brings it home 7th for American. In 8th, it was Jacob Weiss out of UNC Charlotte. And in 9th, Zachary Self out of Minnesota State Mankato. Zach DeWale rounding out your top 10 out of St. Clair College, their 3rd car in the top 10. Ricky Paz out of Valparaiso will bring it home 11th. And Austin DeLong, who went for a couple of wild rides today, will rebound to finish 12th for Penn College Technology. Nicholas Budmilik finishes 13th for St. John's University. And Dylan Godinez finishes 14th also from Penn College of Technology. Colin Coppola out of Indiana will bring it home 15th. Matthew Burton out of East Tennessee State finishes 16th. A couple of RMU teammates as Robert Morris University claims 17th and 18th with Treston Yoder and Bradley Daniels respectively. In 19th, it is Brandon Schulenberger out of Wingate University. 20th, also out of Wingate University, was Jake Cummings in that number 95 car. Alex Hogarth had a pretty quiet evening, but he comes home 21st for St. Clair College. 22nd was Jeremy Miller, who spent most of this one up near the front, but wasn't able to bring home the result from the running position he had most of the day. Dustin Buck for Waldorf University comes home 23rd, and in 24th, it is Clint Halterman out of UNC Charlotte. In 25th, it is R. Muhammad Alif out of Ball State University, with Matt Stawicki out of James Madison finishing 26th. Ethan Head for Tennessee Knoxville finishing 27th. In 28th, it was Matthew Nordberg out of NC State. 29th, Esteban Munoz out of FIU. In 30th today, Andrew McCall finishing 30th for Purdue, finishing 30th. Rick Crane, who spent a lot of this race up near the front until the very end, finishing for Ball State back toward 31st, the last car on the lead lap. Andrew Burrell for Clemson pulls it home 32nd, 1 lap down. Timothy Wilms for Drexel, who got hit under the pace laps, finishes 33rd. Jeff Pete for Minnesota Twin Cities finishes 34th here today. Garrett Patton out of Arizona State, collected in that early incident, finishes 35th. Nick Stockner out of Clemson finishes 12 laps down and 36th. With Edwin Onofre out of North Texas, Caden Kimball out of Ball State, Ryan Wilson out of Minnesota State Mankato, Connor Levy out of Arizona State, rounding out your final 4 competitors here this evening. With that being said, it has been quite the evening, and it's about time that we are going to wrap it here, but not before I get to plug what's coming up next here on the CIL schedule. First off, Tuesday, January 31st. That is tomorrow night at 9 p.m. It is the inaugural CIL Short Track Showdown. That is going to... Oh, is that Wednesday? Okay. I had on the timing sheet as Tuesday. So Wednesday, February 1st, it is the inaugural CIL Short Track Showdown race from USA International, I believe. Yep. And then next Monday will be the third race of the CIL Cup Series season. And producer Scott, where is that one at? That'll be taking place at Kansas Speedway. That is same time, same place as tonight, just 1 week from now, Monday, 9 p.m. And the next Formula C race will be next week as well on the Tuesday at 9 p.m. And they will be at Laguna Seca, everyone's favorite WeatherTech Speedway. So, for producer Scott Ruff, I've been Alex Canyon. Thank you all so much for tuning in to CIL Cup Series action here this evening. Hope you have a wonderful night, and we'll catch you Wednesday for the inaugural CIL Short Track Showdown from USA International.